So now what are the possible treatments that we can give to outliers? So one option is you remove the outliers in case you think that this is not a real world scenario. It is basically a mistake which you are not expecting in real world. So you may remove those outliers. That is one approach. Second approach, which is like imputing outliers with some mean value or the median value. So this can be another approach. So you want to give some that treatment, and you want to keep the data points, and you want to just impute those outlier values with the mean value or median value. Another approach can be binning approach. Binning approach is like when you have data which is continuous, and you can say that I want to have a bucket. So this is also related to the feature engineering approach, binning approach. So I will be covering binning approach separately, so then you will get better idea like how binning approach works. But on a very high level, just understand, let's say you have some extreme values. If you can create buckets, if you can create some kind of bins, so that those bins will basically be represented. So let's take very quickly let's take one example. We have let's say some users which are like 5 years. You were not expecting the users of your application to be 5 years. Mostly your users are 20 years, 25 years, maybe 30 years, 35 years. So you have these users data, and there are some users which are like 80-year-old or 85-year-old. So you were not expecting these. So if you can create some kind of buckets on top of this data, so maybe you can say users below 20 years, this is one bucket, and then users between 20 to 30, another bucket. So you are creating these kind of buckets, or you can say users above 80 years, another bucket. So the outliers are actually now part of these buckets, right? And they are like binned together. So that is called binning approach. Now another way to handle outlier is basically build a separate machine learning model for the outliers. So that is another scenario, because in machine learning usually we focus on the majority of the data, but if there are some extreme values, we can actually build a separate machine learning model to take care of outliers. Another possibility is you can use those machine learning models like lasso regression or ridge regression. They will help in reducing the impact of outliers. So let's say if you have few outliers in your data and you want to reduce the impact, then you may consider going for those approaches. When I am discussing linear regression and different types of regression, then I will talk more about it. But for the time being, just understand like there are various ways of dealing with outliers. So this is not an exhaustive list. So we will have more options of dealing with outliers. So it all depends on the domain, how you want to do it. So I hope it makes sense. Like it's not just about removal of outliers, but also going beyond that, and maybe modeling those outliers may help in actually representing the real world.